Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fully Engaged.
Woo!
We're working with our crowd. That's all right. We're still new here, right? I'm Connor DeLynn. This is Briosha.
Hello.
And we just got engaged. So about a month ago, we got engaged, and we want to have an intentional relationship. And so we decided, look, we're going to take on kind of a bold challenge of interviewing 100 couples before we get married. So if you're listening to this first time, that's what's happening here. And we also... we care about this. We really are intentional about wanting to be the best to show up for each other. And for those of you that are new to our story, you may want to go listen to the first few episodes. The first few episodes, we share Briosha's story and my story. You want to give them just a little quick glimpse of what they could see there?
Yeah, so I lost my child in a drowning accident when he was 2.5 years old. And since then, actually, my relationship with him and my relationship with myself and my relationship with life has deepened to a whole new level. So I'm really passionate about helping other people understand that life and love and grief and loss live all in this same bucket, and it's not one or the other. And Connor here has helped shown me a lot of that. He'd shown me that I can feel immense loss and grief and still fall in love again. So that's what you'd find in the first 3 episodes. That's a little bit about me and about us.
I love it.
The way we met was actually really cool. We met on an ayahuasca trip in Colombia, which we talk about in episode 3.
Yep.
And that's actually how we met our first couple right here.
So our interview tonight is with Hunter and Sarah Clark. These two we met. Well, I guess we met Hunter in Colombia. Sarah was not on the trip because
She
you
was
were
very
home.
pregnant.
Yeah, you were home pregnant, getting ready to have Ruby, who is in the room today. And Ruby is really cute. So we know exactly, this is how old our relationship is.
Right
we're
there.
this old, right? That
this
child.
form.
I love it. And so, but this couple, they have really embraced vulnerability with each other. I think a lot of people in today's world, we just don't have the ability to have those deep conversations, right? A lot stays on the surface. And these two have not only done that, but they've now helped so many other people do that. Mm-hmm. Specifically, Hunter has tackled the issue of pornography. And a lot of married men out there that feel so much shame and guilt around not even being willing or comfortable to share that with anyone, let alone their person, and kind of feeling that, once I get married, or that won't be a part of my life. But you've had the chance to coach hundreds of guys now and help them through that process.
Something that's really cool about Hunter actually is he's very open about it. My first time meeting him, he was so open about his struggle with pornography, which it's a taboo subject, right? And it caught me off guard, but then I got to know him and I got to see how passionate he is about actually helping men, not only with their pornography addictions, but finding what's underneath the addiction, right? Because it all stems from somewhere. And that's the exact same thing Sarah does in her nutrition and coaching. She helps women understand how to connect to their bodies and understand why the disconnect might lead to nutrition problems or eating problems.
And crazy connection. I didn't know Hunter or Sarah, but when I get down to Colombia, I realized that Hunter's wife, Sarah, had totally helped my little sister. So my little sister, Carly, you changed her life. I'm not kidding you. I'm her older brother, and there's just 2 of us. And that, weight and those things was always an issue and always a topic of conversation. And you changed, and she'd tell you, it was a mindset thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not diet or no diet. And so it was really cool. We had these connections already. She still swears by you, and she still looks freaking awesome. Right?
Yeah.
And she doesn't work with you anymore. That's the whole goal, is that we're not having to work with you every week to look great. I don't have anything else. Let's get them on stage.
Okay.
Please give a huge warm welcome to Hunter and Sarah Clark. All right. Perfect.
Nice job,
Get some
Hunter.
hugs and we'll roll.
Hopefully it's okay. I have my water.
Hi, guys. Yeah, bring your water. We
My,
just we forgot ours.
I know.
We're all right. How we doing, guys?
Dude, we're doing good. Stoked to be
If
here.
you don't like the pillow,
Yeah,
you can
throw
take it
that
down.
pillow behind you, by the way. They're completely for show and they're uncomfortable. So if you
Yeah.
don't want to, don't worry about it. Have you ever done anything like this?
No talk show. No,
Yeah?
this is the first timer.
Kind of
You've
nervy.
got mom and dad in the crowd right here.
Got a big crowd. We're stoked about it. We go.
Huge crowd. I mean, thousands of people. Hey, but it's got to start somewhere, right?
Everyone-
But
it's
I will
important.
say this. I guarantee you this is the biggest crowd you've ever had for a podcast.
That's true.
Yep,
That's
I'm right.
impressive.
Exactly. It's all about how you frame it, right? Let's start right here. How did the two of you meet? We just talked about how we met a little, and we'll get more into it. How did you two meet?
Yeah, so I was doing summer sales, the classic Utah County boy summer sales story. And as I was out in California, I got a call from an old friend, and he's like, hey, I have this girl that I want you to meet, but she's way out of your league. I'm like,
Naturally.
okay. And at the time I was dating someone, so I was like, okay, that's fine, but like, I don't really care. And he's like, just follow her on Instagram. I'm like, okay. So I followed her, and then I just couldn't get her out of my head.
Aw.
But hold on, you're dating someone.
I was dating someone.
Problem.
That's just a little
Yeah.
inconvenience.
So I broke up with the girl that I was currently dating, and then I moved back to Utah.
Wait, did you break up with the girl that you were dating for Sarah? Or
I mean, there were a few other reasons.
there were a few
but
other things, but Sarah was kind of in your
Sarah
mind.
was definitely in my mind, and I didn't feel
Right.
good about, continuing a relationship as. I
And how
wanted to
long were
pursue.
you with that other girl?
Like 3 or 4 months. I'm not super.
Oh,
It
okay.
never seemed like it was super serious from the stories you've told me. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
See, truth comes out.
Anyways.
It's unscripted. I have a question, actually, though. Like, what did you see on her social? I mean, obviously, she's cute and pretty.
Yeah.
But what made you go like, wait, I've got to check what's going on here?
See, I don't think it was so much of like what I saw. I think it was just more like energetically like what I felt. And I felt like it was very divine how
Yeah.
we interacted and got to know each other. So I do feel like it was more divine intervention that
Yeah.
I just couldn't stop thinking about her.
Yeah.
So you pulled up her RIP profile and you felt her energy.
Something like that.
No,
yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I got home from I got home from sales, and we're trying to get hooked up on a double date, and just nothing was really working. The friends that connected us weren't.
Well, the friend that connected with him first was his friend from the MTC, I was doing summer sales at the time too. He was my manager.
Oh.
And his wife was my best friend. So she's like, hey, you need to go on this date with Hunter Clark. We want to go on a double with you guys. So at this point, I knew who he was. And I was like, okay, yeah, like set us up on a date. But it never happened. But anyways, you can finish. You can keep going.
And I knew some people that she hung out with.
So I had like my sales friends, who was the first person that introduced him, and then that told me about me, said all those things. And then I had like my high school friends. And so he was friends with both of them too, but we weren't friends. Does that make
Okay.
sense? Is this following?
Yeah, I got you.
Following?
It's Small Lake City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So-
Utah County.
Yeah,
That's what it is. It's Utah County.
So I didn't know her high school friends like she was saying very well, but I knew if I hung out with the high school friends one day, Sarah would just show up, just naturally.
Oh, okay.
And so I started hanging out with the high school buddies of hers, and then, one day she pulled up, and I was like, "Oh, what a surprise! You're here!" And then we started hanging
No,
out.
it was not like that. What happened is, it was not what a surprise you were here. It was, I knew who he was, and he knew who I was. And he pulls up in his nice Tesla that he just got from that summer, and I knew he was wanting to take me out. And so I'm like, okay, we know who each other is. I'm not gonna play like we don't know.
Yeah.
And so he pulls up in front of my house because they're all picking me up to go to this hot tub. And he acts like he doesn't know me. And I'm like, what's up, Hunter Clark?
Oh.
I was
And he's,
totally
like,
ready to
trying
play it cool.
all
He's trying to play super
Yeah,
cool.
he's trying to play all cool. And I'm like, don't even. Like, we know who each other are. I know you've been wanting to take me on a date. And he's like, oh, hello. It was just freaking dumb.
Hey, Sarah, I don't want to
Like,
tell
hey,
you how I really know you very well, but I do know you super well.
You're like, hey, I'll save you time. Yes, you can take me out.
Yeah.
I love
And
this.
then we went to hot tub and we just talked the whole time and hung out every day since
Aw, that's
so it was
sweet.
on. And when was that?
December 2020. Is when
2020.
we met.
Oh.
Okay, so COVID, you're a
Yeah.
COVID couple, kind of in the madness of the pandemic and all that. That's when you connect, right? You can
Yeah.
claim
I
it
mean,
a
it's
little.
kind of near the end. I feel like
Yeah.
December 2020, like, yeah, a little bit, but our
Oh,
wedding
yeah, that
was
is
pretty,
near the end,
Our,
huh?
our wedding was still pretty normal.
Okay.
So when you guys were dating, how far were you in your relationship when you knew like each other was the one?
Want to go first?
Yeah. I mean, this is another story, but I would probably say. So I crashed his Tesla. And it was when I crashed his Tesla that I was like, that's another story, but.
On purpose to test
I know,
him?
seriously.
You guys are interesting.
We were going, anyways, long story short, we were going down Provo Canyon and he was driving a car in front of me. I was driving his Tesla and I slipped. And I guess there's a mode on the Tesla that I didn't know about. When you let go of the gas, it automatically brakes. So as I started fishtailing, I let go of the gas, so it braked. And then I spun around and I crashed it.
That's really dangerous, Elon.
Oh, I know. Tell me.
Yeah.
Actually, though, I would say if I was in my other little Honda Fit tiny car, it would have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
The Tesla was pretty
Sturdy.
sturdy, but yeah, the whole function,
shoot.
that whole mode thing of like brake.
Yeah.
Anyways, but Hunter, the way he reacted when I had crashed his Tesla, like he had every right just to be so mad at me. He worked really hard for that car the whole summer, only had it for 3 months. And he was just so kind and forgiving and loving and just like wanted to make sure I was okay. And I think that was the moment that I was like, I think I love this guy. Like
That's so
that was so sweet. I know. I
How
was
far in was that again?
like 2 months.
Yeah.
We
my
didn't date very long
gosh. Yeah.
until we got married. So yeah, that was like 2 months.
Yeah.
That's really sweet. And what were you thinking when she crashed your car?
Yeah. You can be honest.
I
You
love
reacted
this girl.
You reacted well. Your thoughts. It's okay if they don't.
There's more cars in the world.
Yeah. My initial thought was I saw the crash and I saw it was a hard crash, but I also knew that she was okay from the crash because it wasn't like crazy.
So that's where your first thing goes. Are you okay?
Yeah, is she okay? And then I knew she was okay. And then my second thought was like, oh, my car just crashed head on, just busted. And then as I pulled over and I was running up the road to her, I just had this very distinct impression like, don't be mad. Just don't be mad. And so I pulled up, gave her a hug and said it's okay. And yeah, it was actually a really special moment while we were dating.
That's really cool.
Just cost me a lot of money, but other than that, it was very special.
Now, did you know already that she was the one? I'm going to guess yes.
Yeah, we were definitely on the path of getting married.
I would
It
say
wasn't
you were-
till later.
Yeah, I would
that
say for
found
you,
out.
it was more when we went to Hawaii that you were like,
Yeah, we went on a little trip and we just like sat on the beach and we like really talked about marriage. And I was like, you know, like that actually feels really good. And then that's kind of when we stepped into it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And ever since, it's just been no bumps, and it's just amazing.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's how it's all portrayed, right?
No more
Nothing hard.
Tesla crashes. Oh, I love it. Very cool. So just timeline on that then. So how long from when you met to engaged and married?
Yeah, met and married in 4 months.
so.
Met and married.
Yeah.
When was the engagement in there? How'd you plan for a wedding?
Our engaged Heidi. It's probably like that was a little crazy. My mother-in-law. Our engagement was 3 weeks, and so I planned it in about a month. I planned it a little bit before we got engaged. The reason why our engagement was 3 weeks.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I'm questionable if we're going to be ready by next August.
Yeah. You guys
I'm like
yeah.
15 months. I don't know.
We're fully engaged for 3 weeks. You guys are like a year and a half. Honestly, this was another sign that like everything fell into a place because when I did start, so the reason why our engagement was 3 weeks is because we were going out to do summer sales.
Okay.
And so it was a little bit of like, hey, either we wait and get married after the summer or we get married before the summer. And just kind of where we were at in life, I was like, you know, if
We
we're gonna
both knew.
Yeah, it's like if we're gonna get married, let's just like get married before the summer. That way we can be husband and wife during the summer and not have to worry about being boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever.
Yes.
And so yeah, I honestly wasn't super picky about my wedding anyways, and everything just kind of fell into place. The venue I wanted, the DJ I wanted, the first dress I tried on was the one I did, and
Whoa.
I had tons of help. My mother-in-law helped me a whole bunch, and like everything, it all worked out.
That's
But,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very
Congrats
awesome.
on all that. And
Thanks.
how long have you been married now? How long has that been?
4 years.
4 years,
We just hit 4 years.
4 years, and you have Ruby, who Ruby's a year?
15 months, yeah.
15 months. Okay, cool. All right. Anything else on their relationship, or should now we get into some of the deeper stuff?
No, we can get into it. I can see people listening to that and being like 3 weeks and thinking that's actually crazy, but yeah, we can go
Yeah,
deeper.
you know, especially through Breeze followers, we have listeners all over the world, right? And for those of you not in Utah County, Utah, that's a little bit more common here, a little crazy, right? Like,
Well, I would-
the audience didn't go
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, you're just like, oh, okay.
I would
yeah.
say 3 weeks. It's so funny because when you're dating, you're like, I'm not going to be that typical Utah County couple that gets married super
Yeah.
quick. And then all of a sudden we got married super quick. And you're
Totally
like,
that couple.
But you waited to have a baby.
Yeah,
we
waited
to have
to
a
have a
baby.
baby.
You did. All right. So let's talk about Hunter's stuff first.
Yeah.
So Hunter, one, you decided somewhere along the road that you were going to be open about a part of your life that was like the biggest secrets, the
Totally.
biggest thing to hide and keep in a corner. Now that's what you're posting about on social media daily. How does that shift happen, and what made you have that feeling to go, I'm going to just share?
Yeah. Well, I think it all started, you know, started struggling with pornography, the classic story, super young, struggled throughout high school,
And
came
what
back
is
from my
super
mission.
young? Like,
9.
okay.
Yeah. So 9, I was introduced. And,
Can I ask how? Like,
oh, you know.
obviously I know the answers too, but like for people listening, like a 9-year-old, what's a 9-year-old doing?
Yeah. Well, the honest answer is I watched Transformers 1 and Megan
Megan
Fox
Oh.
opening up the car hood.
Yeah, I know.
That like sparked something. And I don't see, you know, that 9-year-old boy as like anything bad happened. I
Yeah.
really just see it as like I was very curious at a very young age. And that's what got me to search for, you know, pornographic images.
Yeah.
And then it just slowly built like a snowball throughout high school. And so I served my mission, thought I was done with it. And then I got home from my mission. Well, I served in Mexico, so I had a little walnut phone, so really no chance to even view if I wanted to. And then I got home and I got my smartphone back, and then I started viewing again. So I didn't overcome it on my mission, I just avoided it on my mission. And I told myself, I'm not gonna get married until, you know, I've overcome this. And I dated a few girls, one of those girls we mentioned earlier, and, you know, I decided to break up with him because I hadn't overcome this yet. And then I met Sarah, and I was still struggling with pornography, but I was like, she is so amazing, and I know she's my person. And at first I was like, I'm not gonna tell her, because logically I was like, okay, once we're able to be intimate with each other, then it should just go to the wayside, right? But my dad, who's here, he played a huge role. And he said, hey, you need to tell her. And I was like, well, I'm afraid she's gonna break up with me. He's like, that's what you gotta face if that's what happens. And so I was like, all right. And so a couple weeks into dating, I told her where I was at, and I didn't promise perfection, but I promised that I'd always be open and honest about where I was at with this. And obviously she's not super stoked to hear that, as any girlfriend would be. But after some time thinking about it, and I don't want to tell too much of her story, but we decided to move forward with it. And that was like my first time like really opening up about it. Cause I talked to bishops and stuff, but like really
Church leaders. Yeah.
yeah, church leaders, but truly like being vulnerable to someone that I care about and was worried about losing was with Sarah. And so that was a huge moment, I think, in our relationship of, one, how she reacted and how she just didn't view me as, you know, this guy who struggled. She viewed so much more past that. And that was like a really telling sign that Sarah was was a good the person for me. So
I love that. One, that's so cool. This is one of the first times on this stage we've had a very emotional moment about someone in the crowd. Like, that's so cool.
That's really cool.
And actually, before we jump to the two of you, I want to talk about that. You were quiet about it, but you were comfortable enough to talk about it with your dad. Like,
Yeah.
what did that conversation look like, and why is that so important to you now? Of like, if he didn't have that conversation with you, then maybe this looks different.
yeah, well, it's interesting because now I do this for my work, as I help guys with this, and I've heard so many stories of guys who thought that it would go away when they got married, so they actually didn't say anything. And then 3 or 4 years into marriage, they either get caught or it comes up, and it's this big devastating moment when I felt like we were able to approach it in a much healthier way along the way. And my dad was just a huge support in helping me do that.
It's cool. Good
It's
job,
really
Dad.
good advice, Dad. There you go.
Thanks, Paul.
That's
I
right.
appreciate it too.
Let's go to Sarah. So talk to us about, I mean, when you hear that and all of a sudden you go through that situation now, like, what did that feel like? How did you navigate it?
Yeah. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, I don't know how I reacted as good as I did, but I think that it was all divine. I think that when Hunter told me, I felt a lot of compassion towards him. Being completely transparent, I never struggled with pornography, but I had looked at it like a couple times when I was a teenager. And I remember how much it weighed on me when I had looked at it a couple of times, and how much guilt I had felt just from that. And so when he had told me, I had felt like that feeling that he had felt, but like not even being able to imagine what that might feel like as an addiction for 10 years versus maybe 2 times, you know? And so immediately I just felt a lot of compassion and love towards him. And I felt like his ability and willingness to be completely honest and open with me meant a lot. And it was a risk, you know, like I can say, yeah, he can say, yes, I'll be honest with you. And it still is a risk of like, hey, well, will he be honest with me? And, you know, I trusted him. I trusted him. And I think I did my best to create space so that he could stay in integrity with me. And yeah, and he did. And he was always honest with me throughout dating.
Yeah.
And
Do you feel that it's like bonded you two even deeper and closer, just sharing that with each other?
Oh, for sure.
yeah, I mean, it's been hard.
Yeah.
It's been hard for sure. And there's been, I think, you know, throughout our marriage, there has been times that it's more separated us, but as we've worked through it, it has deepened us.
Totally.
But it hasn't been completely like this. It's been like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad that you say that.
Yeah, tell me, like, I think in this topic, it's hard, like a word like addiction, right? Like a lot of people, someone missing, like, what does that mean, right? Or potentially you have someone that looks at it 2 times and then they're feeling they're the worst person ever, right? And so what have you seen in working with a lot of people of like, what is the spectrum almost of what you see, and where do you see like appropriate accountability, but at the same time not falling into the shame and I'm broken and I'm, you know, the world's biggest loser?
Yeah. Well, I think the word addiction a lot of times does more harm than good.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
a lot of, you know, guys that I talk to, I'd probably say 95% of them I wouldn't label as addicted. I'd just say habits. They have habits. And just like habits are created, habits can be uncreated or untrained. And so that's like the biggest thing that I've been focusing on is, you know, how do you get rid of the shame? And what I've learned is people need less accountability and they need more open conversations and they need more friends to talk to about this. So my recovery just looked so much different than, you know, the typical have an accountability partner and go X amount of days and then you're free. It was very different. And that's why I felt inspired to, you know, open up and share my story and help others do the same.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. How is it different? Because I know the two of you did it together. Like, it was teamwork.
Yeah. Well, so the first thing was when I got rid of shame, and the way I did that was opening up about it. So I started telling friends, I started telling people I worked with in appropriate ways. And it was so interesting because my desire to view pornography just faded. And that's when I knew I was onto something. Because all the other times I had gone 30 days, 90 days without it, but just like pure, just like willpower and white knuckle.
And it's like you're making it this huge thing, right?
And giving more power to it. And the more that I just accepted it, had less shame about it, the more I figured out that it's not about the behavior, it's what's driving the behavior, the more porn just really faded out of my life. And it went away in a sense that I didn't feel like I was trying anymore. And that's when it clicked of like, I think I have something special here. And that's where I went into it. And I want to tell this story because a couple months ago, Sarah came to me and she was like, I never thought I'd say this, but I'm actually grateful for your pornography stuff. And so now I want to pass it over to you and like how
Tease you up after the break.
Yeah. Oh, after the
No, I'm totally teasing.
like,
He was
is there a
being
break?
Chris Harrison there.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I said that is because Hunter's pornography addiction, as hard as it's been, it has brought me back to myself. And something that I feel passionate about in this recovery is, as much as Hunter's doing a lot of work to help the men be seen, as that needs to happen. Like, men are struggling and they don't feel seen. They feel alone. It needs to be talked about more because more people are struggling with it. But on the other hand, women need to be seen. Women that are struggling and women that are married or partnered with men that are struggling. I just talked to a girl the other day and she said, I was the first person she talked to about it. And her husband's been struggling and she's like, I don't want to talk. Because for me, the first 2 years of our marriage, I didn't talk to anybody about it because I want to protect Hunter. I don't want anyone to think differently of Hunter. Like, I see his heart. And also, there's a little bit of embarrassment of like, I'm married to a man who struggles with pornography. Like, I didn't know how to talk about it. I feel like people wouldn't understand. I didn't want to tell my mom about it because I knew she'd be like, run, but it's like, I see Hunter. And just realizing that as I've opened up about it, it's also helped me. And being able to notice that Hunter's pornography habit has been able to illuminate things inside me that needed to be healed and needed to be worked on. For example, like body dysmorphia, body image struggles are something that I always struggled with growing up. And so I always thought it was funny. I was like, God, that's so funny. You would give me a husband that struggled with pornography when that's something that I always struggle with. But for me, instead of looking at it as a bad thing, looking at it as an opportunity that I can really come into myself and start developing more self-love and more self-acceptance and a better relationship with myself. And, I'm sure there could have been other struggles within our marriage that could have maybe done that. But I do feel like Hunter's, this issue that, this thing that we've worked through and been working through has really helped me develop a better relationship with myself. And that's something that I feel passionate helping other women and other wives is, stop focusing on your husband's recovery and start focusing on yourself. And when you can actually disconnect yourself from his addiction, you can still care. Disconnecting doesn't mean you don't care. You can still care. But when you can disconnect from his addiction,
Like, stop taking it personal.
stop taking it personal. It doesn't mean anything about you. If Hunter's been struggling with this since he was 10 years old, it means nothing about me. I've only known him for, way less than that.
Right.
And I feel like for a long time, I put a cap to my own growth, like a ceiling to my own growth of like, when Hunter overcomes this, then finally I can feel better about myself. Then I can love myself. Then I can feel sexy in myself, in my body. But in reality, I came to this realization of like, man, I'm putting his addiction and his recovery as a ceiling to my growth. And I actually had this meditation one time where I envisioned that I was in this cage, and the cage was his addiction. And I had myself in the cage, and I always thought like, oh, once he overcomes this, then the cage will unlock and I'll be free.
Whoa, I just got chills.
But in reality, like, I had the key to unlock the cage.
Oh my
And so it was just like, all I had to do is let myself free of it. And what's been cool is as I've been able to focus on myself and disconnect and let him do him, it's actually helped him be able to do him and like give him the freedom and let him be able to grow in the way that he needs to grow, instead of me trying to control it and because I'm uncomfortable, because I feel unsafe, and rather building safety within myself first.
So it challenged you in all the right ways.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. As you're talking, like, I'm seeing the theme of this show, Fully Engaged, right? Like, in different ways, because there's an interesting paradox that I think you hit on there is, on the one side, you two are doing it together. Like, you're a team. I know that you talk about it openly and go through it. And what's interesting is you're both tackling different issues, not only with yourselves, but for other people. Pornography, body dysmorphia, which are kind of on interesting sides of the spectrum, right? But then you also recognize that you had to do it on your own too. Like, it was his stuff and it was your stuff, and you had to support each other while also letting the other person do it, right? So I don't necessarily know what my question is. I just want you to tell me on this, like, what does Fully Engaged look like when you're both doing your own thing, but yet a unified front?
Yeah, I would say I feel like what we came to realize and what really helped me understand his pornography habit was also, I was able to understand it because I'm in nutrition, and so I was able to understand it from like a food addiction perspective or like binge eating perspective, where, you know, your relationship with food and body, like your relationship with pornography and your habits around that, are less to do with that thing. You know, it was less to do with pornography and more about the beliefs and the subconscious programming that's on the inside, more about like what's stored inside your body, what things are triggering that. And, you know, food addictions and pornography addictions, they're just coping mechanisms. They're coping mechanisms to something that's not being addressed on the inside. And so as Hunter's been able, as we've both been able to discover that, it's like, okay, it's not about willpowering yourself out of pornography addiction, or same thing, like it's not about willpowering with food necessarily. It's like, let's get down to who you are as a person, who's your authentic self, what's not aligned right now, what do we need to bring awareness to so that we can change that. And honestly, I feel like personally, I think a lot of it is developing more self-love, which for men, I want to hear your thoughts on this. I feel like I'm speaking a lot, but for men, I feel like the idea of self-love is pretty feminine and taboo. And they're like, no, I'm these hard men. I'm tough.
Yeah.
But in reality, like, self-love is healing. And I think a lot of men forget that they need to love themselves, and a lot of women too. Exactly. But I think if you can't love yourself first, it's going to be really hard to give that. You can't pour from an empty glass, right? And so as we have both worked on ourselves and loving ourselves, a result of that has been him getting, overcoming pornography, me feeling better and the things that I'm working through. And then we've been able to like become a lot closer.
Oh,
I love that.
that was so well spoken.
Thanks.
That was incredible. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
She teed you up. Let's hear it, Hunter.
Oh, I know. I just feel, just to reiterate a little bit, I think I've noticed the more that I've tried to control her growth, or her the same with me, the further we've distanced ourselves. So it's in a way of like, you grow where you need to grow, and I'm supporting that. I don't know where that is, and nor do I have an agenda where I think you should grow, and vice versa. And just like Sarah said, that's brought us so close to each other.
And I feel like for a while we did have agendas for each other.
For sure.
And that's when things became super contentious. Because like I wanted him to do this and this and this. And I had all these ideas of like, this is what you can do. And he would do the same to me. And it just like, it created this contention. And when someone tells you, when you feel an answer inside you, and it comes out, it feels way more embodied when you find those answers. But if someone tells you, sometimes it'll hit, but when something can be embodied, is that making sense? Like when you feel something from the inside, like an answer, a way of growth, it's going to hit differently than if somebody's like, hey, Hunter, this is what I think you should do to overcome pornography. Like he needs to come to that himself.
Right. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. And it's been an amazing ride, and I would love to touch on, going to Colombia with you two.
Yeah.
That was
Let's hit it. Let's go there, and then we'll see how it's transformed.
I have a question for you that leads into that then. What point in your journey were you like, I'm gonna go to Colombia and do ayahuasca to help me overcome my porn addiction? Like, where were you when that hit?
Yeah, I just had realized what I was doing wasn't working.
Yeah.
So, I was doing all the things that you were supposed to do to overcome it, and I was like, this is not working. And at the time I knew what Sarah said, it's something deeper. And I was like, the best and fastest way I know to get into your deepest self is to go do, ayahuasca. And I'd
Why
never
not?
done it, and I didn't.
Wait, but how do you know that? Like, what did you see?
So a friend recommended
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Just some guy from Utah that's like, well, you want to get deep, go down to the Amazon.
No, they're not wrong for sure.
So you decided like you wanted to go, and you were specific with that intention. Like,
Very
And he
specific.
wore it on his sleeve, which was kind of surprising. It was like, hey, Hunter, like, what made you come here? I'm struggling with pornography. I'm working on this, and this is why I'm here. I'm like, good for you. Like, well, all right, let's knock this out. What does it look like? Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Talk
and
a little about that week.
the week was very sacred. It was a great way. Well, so much happened, as you guys know. Like,
You guys were roommates.
me and Connor were
We were
roommates,
in
and I
a
was like,
Colombian bunk.
who is this guy? My roommate, this weird guy. And then, first night we're thrown up together. I'm like, all right, this guy's pretty cool.
You bond really fast.
We bonded really
You were
fast.
in a group of like 12 people? How many people were there?
Like 15, 20, yeah.
15 people from Utah. You guys were roommates, and then I also got to meet you on that trip too. It was pretty fun.
Yeah. No, and just, summarizing that trip, I think I learned so much about myself, but I think the biggest thing that I got from that trip was really understanding the divine women and the divine feminine. And I feel like I almost had like a reset because I'd conditioned my brain since 9 years old to view women a certain way. And ayahuasca just was like a reset where I was able to see, not to get too explicit, but I was able to see like breasts not as these sexual things, but as, life-giving organs and the whole female body. And it was just so incredible to see the divine in the women again. And it was something that I had missed. And so that was like the summary of the trip. Lots more happened, but
Yeah.
it was really incredible.
And Sarah, how do you feel when he says that? Like, what feelings come up for you?
I love that, obviously. I think that it's part of my own healing too, has been seeing my own body as divine and beautiful and like life-giving and magical. Being pregnant with Ruby was really healing for me. And so obviously him coming back from ayahuasca and being able to see my body as divine means so much to me.
And you were pregnant at the time too, so
Yeah.
that's really special.
Which was really cool because, there's this stigma that, when your wife gets pregnant, her body changes in like a negative way and all these things. But truly, like, it was one of the most beautiful times of our marriage was to see her in that state of being pregnant and her body literally creating another human was like so wild. So
Yeah. So cool. I love that. Hi, Ruby. Oh, Ruby went out. Okay, let's end with this question here to both of you. I think this is an interesting interview because at the end of the day, you can talk like symptoms or give the details at the end, but you go back to self-love. Like you go back to mindset, all of these things for whatever it might be. The two of you coached a lot of people in a specific area, right? So same question to both of you. What have you learned through all the people that you've talked to working through, healthy eating habits or pornography addiction or whatever it might be? And to those that might be struggling with those things or haven't been willing to talk about it, or maybe they struggle with those issues but would never hire a coach or someone like that, what advice would you give to them from what you know now?
the first thing I would say, and it's like very obvious, is that whoever is struggling with pornography, and the stats are, unfortunately pretty high, is first of all, they're not broken. Like truly, they're not broken. There's nothing inherently wrong with the person that's struggling. I truly just believe they don't have the right tools yet, and they've approached it in the wrong way. And with the right tools, overcoming pornography can actually be a lot easier than what most people expect. So that's what I would say.
You're not broken, get some help.
Yeah.
Just look at it a different
Get the
way.
right
Like
tools.
that. Yeah, all right.
Talk about it.
Talk about it.
I would say with the people that I've worked with in nutrition, and also the wives that I've worked with through him, is the best thing that you can do to achieve your fitness goals, your nutrition goals, or just to feel better in your relationship is to first develop a better relationship with yourself. If you don't have a good relationship with yourself, it doesn't matter how good the other relationships are, you're never going to feel completely fulfilled.
Agreed.
And so I would say focus more on yourself first, and things around you are going to start aligning.
I love
Really
that.
good.
I love that. I always say, like, we all complain about, like, it's hard to connect with people or have these, we talk about other people. It's like, well, you have to connect with yourself before you can ever connect with anyone else.
sure.
And if you're not connecting with yourself, you might be connecting with someone else, but you're in a mask, or you're not that person, and so the connection isn't real anyways. It's
Exactly.
forced, or it's counterfeit. So I love that thought. This is a fun interview. You want to ask these guys anything else before we do the WTF minute?
No, I think I'm ready for the WTF.
Okay. Yeah. On this show, and one of the things we do at WTF is we believe in the abundance mentality. So if anyone comes and pours into us, we want to pour back into them, but we do it in kind of a fun way. We actually give you 60 seconds, and we're gonna let both of you do it because you both are rocking different businesses and stuff, and we'll do it separate here. But just tell them what they need to know, how they can find you, whatever it might be. We purposely do this as 60 seconds because these clips are then all put on our social media and stuff like that, so it creates a cool little reel. We got a bunch of these already. So anyway, let's see, let's time this. Who wants to start?
I can go first.
All right, Hunter, you go first, and we got our clock open. On your mark, get set. Oh, and look right into that camera because that's
Okay.
going to be a reel. All right,
Okay.
go.
I would say, I feel like I'm just a guy trying to figure it out. And I feel like I've learned so much along the way. And I very much feel like I'm still a student, and I'm still learning, and I'm growing. And I'm just trying to be the person that I wish that I had 3 years ago. And so that's really what I'm trying to do with my program, with my coaching, is not portray that I have all these answers and have it all figured out, but just I'm on the journey, I'm learning with you guys, and I'm still figuring it out. And if that calls to you, you can follow me on Instagram at _hunter.clark, and I would love to work with you or hear your story.
Wow, that was 56 seconds. Give him a round of applause.
job, baby.
Hunter, I'm going to give you a compliment.
Okay.
I've helped a lot of people work through their messaging and talk through things. And I play this game. It's one of the first things I do. And it's funny because we start the clock, and usually what happens, like word vomit, like la, 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 la. I'm guilty of it. We set the clock and hit go for you, and he took this big breath. Yeah, Tiffany caught this. He took this big breath. He thought about it. You saw you actually drop into like why you cared so much. And then by the end of that, you got tears in your eyes. And that's why I love you, because we both cry, because this stuff it's important, right? And the moment you catch on to helping other people or seeing them go from this to that, especially if it's somewhere you've been and you can help illuminate that path and show them as a guide, like, it's freaking awesome. So anyway, I love that.
Thanks.
Yeah, go follow this guy. Go check him out. And I know you're going to help. You already have a lot of people, but a lot more. So anyway, thanks for coming on. Sarah, your turn. We just got all gushy. And now you're just going to be like, get your macros right and get to the gym and let's figure this out.
Yeah, well, I feel like my business is going through a little bit of a rebrand right now in and of itself, which I don't really know what it's going to look like yet, but
Cool.
people can I can still do
Oh,
it.
do you want to do it? Yeah, okay,
I don't
go
know.
for it.
People
Look
don't
right
need
here.
to.
You don't need 60.
Oh.
We want time. You go ahead.
Oh, we don't need to do it if we don't want to. Or okay, yeah.
It's your show. Do it.
Okay. Yeah, I am. Do you want to time me or am I? Okay.
Go. Right at that camera.
Yeah. If you're looking for someone to resonate regarding motherhood, regarding spirituality, regarding your body image, regarding your relationship with food, I talk a lot about that because of my own experience. Just like Hunter said, I am still a student to those things, but I love sharing and I love talking about it with others. My coaching program is going through a little bit of a revamp right now, but if you do want to follow along, you can follow me at Sarah Clark _. It's SarahClarkk _, and then you can listen to my podcast. It's Sarah Clark Podcast.
I love it. That was fantastic. Give her a round of applause. Yeah, like 15 seconds. Okay, that's all we got. Briosha has a gift for you, Sarah. You want to share that gift, and then
Yes.
we'll be done.
Yes. Sarah, I think you are so inspiring when it comes to not only helping people and women with body dysmorphia, but also doing the inner work, finding their spirituality, their connection to self, love, God, and all of the above. So I love you so much. I made you this butterfly. Oh, where'd she go?
Where are they? There they are.
Oh, thank you. I've been seeing these everywhere. So.
Aw. Yes, thanks for coming.
Briosha started a jewelry company called Osha Chains, and she actually specializes in remembrance pieces that are focused on people that have been lost and have meaning. The butterfly is a main symbol of our son Romeo. I said our son Romeo, that felt okay. Here we are. All right. Now here we are. Get up. I love you guys. That's all we got. Thank you.